In the contested outskirts of the eastern Ukrainian front, where dust-choked service roads carve thin, wavering lines across wind-scoured fields and shattered industrial belts, a small reconnaissance element from the Azov Regiment's sniper detachment had been monitoring an increasingly troubling pattern for more than a week, tracking how fast-moving Russian motorcycle units, once sporadic and cautious, had evolved into near-daily operators along secondary routes normally considered too exposed for sustained enemy activity, their presence carving a new tactical problem for Ukrainian defensive planners. These motorcycle troops, used primarily for rapid probing missions, courier duties, low-signature reconnaissance, and quick-spotter insertions, had begun exploiting natural gaps between Ukrainian defensive sectors, slipping silently through dead zones before drone observers or artillery spotters could adjust their angles, gathering visual intelligence and transmitting grid points for rapid, drone-guided mortar fire that would rain down on previously quiet positions minutes later. This rapid appearance tactic, shaped by mobility and minimal radio chatter, forced Ukrainian commanders to rethink how they monitored these fluid intervals in their perimeter coverage, as motorcycle scouts could emerge from tree lines, traverse a corridor, and vanish into dead ground before conventional defensive elements could respond. By the time headquarters deployed the Azov sniper detachment to investigate, the terrain had already been struck repeatedly by small but consistent barrages, an unmistakable indication that Russian spotters believed something of operational value was hidden there, whether a supply point, an unregistered dugout, or a vulnerable gap in Ukrainian lines. The four-man Azov team, seasoned operators with years of accumulated experience in urban sieges, trench fighting, and open-field skirmishes, moved into the sector during the final hour of darkness and selected an abandoned drainage ditch reinforced with broken concrete slabs, rusting rebar, and dense, overgrown weeds as their primary hide. From this position, they used thermal optics to confirm what earlier drone observations had suggested. Russian motorcycle teams were following a repeating, predictable approach vector that began deep within the tree line 2 kilometers east, paused at a ruined farm shed to adjust bearings or check drone signals, then accelerated along a narrow dirt track that cut straight toward a Ukrainian trench network just beyond the horizon. While the path seemed reckless for any vehicle operating within artillery range, the speed, maneuverability, and small acoustic signature of motorcycles made them difficult for conventional defensive systems to intercept, especially when riders moved in compact formations without transmitting enough electronic signatures to trigger detection. After meticulously analyzing wind patterns, the subtle dips in terrain, the shifting shadows cast by broken industrial structures, the ambient noise of distant artillery duels, and the timing of Russian drone flights, the Azov team identified a narrow choke point where the dirt track curved between a collapsed irrigation ditch and a cluster of broken brick walls, an exposed bend where motorcycle riders would have no cover, no acceleration escape route, and no angle for evasive maneuvering. The team constructed overlapping firing lanes from their concealed berm, positioning 2 long-range bolt-action rifles and 2 suppressed designated marksman systems in staggered spacing that prevented crossfire interference and allowed uninterrupted arcs of engagement. As mid-morning approached and dust began to rise in faint columns across the distant fields, the soft, vibrating hum of approaching engines crept through the ground, a signature unmistakable to trained ears. Through magnified optics, the Azov team observed 3 Russian motorcycle units, each with 2 scouts, moving in a loose, staggered formation, likely confident their route remained uncontested after days of unchallenged operations. The riders wore a mixture of equipment, Some had military-issue helmets and modular armor, while others wore improvised civilian helmets wrapped in camouflage netting, their rifles strapped across their chests, RPG-26 tubes mounted diagonally across their backs, and compact drone cases fastened behind their seats, indicating a hybrid reconnaissance and spotting mission. What drew the snipers' attention most was the sloppy spacing between the bikes and the casual speed at which they were travelling, signs of troops who had completed multiple safe runs and believed the corridor to be no longer monitored by Ukrainian forces. As the lead motorcycle entered the narrow bend at high velocity, dust billowing around it in a trailing arc, the sniper commander whispered a single command. Now! Triggering the ambush. Two suppressed cracks echoed faintly, their muted tones blending into the background clatter of distant ruins. The lead rider collapsed instantly, the first round striking center mass, and the second piercing the chest of the scout seated behind him. The bike lurched sideways, wheels scraping violently as it flipped into the drainage ditch. The second motorcycle tried to brake, but another pair of shots hit almost simultaneously. One punctured the driver's visor, dropping him instantly, while the other destroyed the front tire, sending both soldiers tumbling into the dust. One of the dismounted Russians attempted to crawl toward the brick wall for cover, but a short, controlled burst from a designated marksman rifle ended the movement before he could reach safety. The third motorcycle, realizing the kill zone too late, attempted to reverse direction, but its rear wheel spun helplessly in the loose soil, offering a perfect stationary target. A precise shot from the bolt-action rifle shattered the engine block, throwing both riders backward in a violent spray of dirt, metal, and debris. Disoriented and desperate, they attempted to return fire blindly, but the Azov snipers had already repositioned slightly within their layered hide, maintaining full invisibility and ensuring no muzzle flashes or thermal anomalies were detectable. Carefully calibrated follow-up shots neutralized both men before they could stabilize their aim. The entire ambush unfolded in under 30 seconds, leaving behind only the fading echoes of small arms fire and the soft metallic ticking of cooling engine blocks scattered across the dirt track. The Azov team remained motionless for several minutes, scanning for reinforcements or the immediate arrival of Russian counter-battery fire. Their doctrine, refined through dozens of similar engagements, emphasized rapid relocation before Russian triangulation systems could analyze acoustic signatures or detect thermal traces. Their instincts proved correct. Within minutes, a Russian drone appeared overhead, circling lower and lower as the operator attempted to assess the ambush site. The drone hovered uncertainly, its camera shifting from wreckage to bodies to terrain features, unable to locate the shooters responsible. After several minutes, the Russians launched a brief but wildly inaccurate mortar barrage, scattering shells across the surrounding fields, but failing to strike anywhere near the team's new position, concealed beneath a layer of vegetation-covered rubble. Once the drone retreated and no additional patrols approached, the Azov team exfiltrated through a concealed trench system they had reconnoitered the previous night, leaving behind minimal trace beyond the destroyed motorcycles and the bodies marking the failed reconnaissance attempt. Their ambush did more than eliminate a small scouting group. It disrupted the Russian tactical rhythm, severing a crucial link in their intelligence chain and forcing sector commanders to halt motorcycle reconnaissance for nearly 48 hours. An operational pause that allowed Ukrainian units to refortify vulnerable sectors, adjust artillery coverage, and remap drone flight corridors without constant harassment. For the Azov snipers, the mission was routine, one of countless engagements carried out during months of relentless frontline pressure. But it revealed the evolving nature of modern warfare, where mobility, precision fire, timing, and terrain exploitation frequently outweighed raw firepower. Their silent withdrawal through scorched tree lines, broken trenches, and fields deeply scarred by continuous attrition reflected a truth rarely highlighted in major news reports. The tactical landscape of the war is shaped not only by sweeping offensives or large mechanized assaults, but by the quiet, lethal work of small, highly trained units who alter the battle in increments too small to appear in international headlines, yet crucial enough to shift drone deployment patterns, artillery planning cycles, and the safety of seemingly insignificant corridors that determine daily survival on the front. In a conflict defined by rapid adaptation, contested terrain, and constant technological escalation, engagements like this one rarely reach public awareness, yet they reveal how modern warfare truly operates, through the precision, patience, and discipline of small teams whose actions reshape entire sectors without ever being seen. If you found this in-depth frontline narrative compelling and want to continue receiving detailed battlefield analysis, real-world combat breakdowns, and high-quality reporting from conflict zones around the world, make sure to support the channel. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Delta History.